video kind of cut me off. But for the love of God, people, just shut up. Just shut up about everything. Oh, it looks too hokey. It looks too, the stuff in Thor was too mystical and fantastical to, I'm going to say it once, and I'm going to say it again. Chris Nolan's Batman films are not the greatest comic book films ever made. They're good for what they are. But those of y'all that went there and think you know everything about Batman don't know shit. And to everybody that hates Thor and says that it's too unbalanced and too unrealistic, that is the purpose of a comic book. It's escapism. It is meant to take you out of the real world and take you to a universe that is not ours. In a comic book universe, I don't want to see babies having babies, 10-year-olds pooping out embryos. I don't want to see housewives go fucking nuts because they didn't take their Prozac and slaughter their children. I don't want to see a grown man get hit with a soldering iron, become mentally retarded, and then turn into Billy Bob Thornton's Sling Blade, where he's stalking a woman even through rain-slick streets, and then, cleaves off half of her face with a razor. I don't want to see that. I prefer living in a fantasy world, a comic book-esque universe. And many people say that I stay way too long in the fantasy universe, that I've lost touch with reality. No, I'm very much in touch with reality. I just choose to ignore it because being in my little fantasy world is a lot better than being in this world. Because at least in my fantasy world, I know who the good guys are, and I know who the bad guys are. And I know what is right, and I know what is wrong. Now, I realize that none of this has anything to do with what you're talking about, but to try to get a wrap on this, and to kind of also reel myself back, because I feel like I'm going a little bit too far, but at the same time, I feel I got to get a lot of this off my chest. Just stuff that is just really stupid and irrelevant, but at the same time, I feel I need to talk about it. And I'm sick of hearing people who don't want to give characters like Thor or the Hulk or even Captain America a chance. That's one thing that's starting to really piss me off to no end. Captain America is not even out yet, and everybody says, oh, he's so stupid. He's a guy who throws a shield, and he's the so-called peak of human perfection. Trust me, when July comes around and I do my Winghead edition, y'all are going to be very surprised with just how awesome Cap really is. Because Cap isn't just a guy who carries a shield and is the peak of human perfection and is Marvel's, Superman. Captain America is a symbol, and I'm going to talk about that in July. But Chris, my man, my dude, whatever, I wholeheartedly agree that GL needs to succeed. And I have faith that it will succeed, because you know what? Like when I went to go see Thor, like watching Iron Man, like watching all these other films, I'm going to go back to that place. That place of when I was 5 years old. Back when superheroes still, in some sense of order, actually meant something. But I'm not going to get my hopes up too much for the other people. But those that have common sense and want to give their kids a positive role model, and a lot of you parents, I understand how you feel. You don't want your kids to be reading comic books for the sex and the violence and all this stuff. That's why I've got these DC Showcase and Marvel Essentials. They're basically 50 to 60, even close to 70 issues, all reprinted in black and white. You can find them for about 20 bucks. Some of them on Amazon are even cheaper. Some are even more expensive because they're rare. But they're all from the Silver Age. They're all happy-go-lucky. They're all goofy, hokey, cheesy adventures, but yet they're fun. And they introduce your kids to the characters the way that I somewhat grew up reading them. Now, Batman is a lot like the Adam West version, but you know what? I'm okay with that. And stuff like Batman Brave and the Bold, I like it too. Marvel and DC need to push Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and DC needs to... I know that they want to cancel after the 3rd season, but I will petition, as well as everybody else, for at least one more season. One more season of Batman Brave and the Bold. Because shows like those, they are what are going to introduce kids to the characters that we know and love. Characters that are very much overshadowed by other characters. The popular ones. But I could ramble on, but in short, I agree with you. And everybody that I've talked to, at least, that's open-minded, they're going to take their kids to go see it, or they're excited to go see it. So at least the people that I'm surrounded with, at least most of them are open-minded enough that they're going to be excited to go and see the movie. And like I said, I'm going to go back to that special place where I was 5 or 6 years old when I'm watching Green Lantern. And I'm going to say it right here, fuck the people that said this is too out of touch, that this is too fantastical, oh, the CGI is all fake. Get your head out of your ass. Stop worrying about what's CG and what isn't, and pay attention to the characters, pay attention to the story. Superhero films are meant to be exactly that, fantasy. Comic books are very much like mythology. It's like the tale of Jason and the Argonauts, Hercules, all that. They're myths and legends, but put in a much more fantastical way. If that makes any sense to some of y'all. I'm happy about Green Lantern, because it's about time, like Thor, that his character, or characters I should say, since there's more than one human Green Lantern, i.e. John Stewart, Kyle Rayner, and Guy Garner, and many others, I think it's about time that Green Lantern got its due. I'm excited and I'm happy to see the film. The constructs look beautiful, and my eyes are sparkling like an anime schoolgirl, because out of any character that I could proudly think of to have a live action movie, it's Green Lantern. Granted, it's Hal Jordan and not Kyle Rayner, which was the character that I would love to see, since Kyle Rayner was the Green Lantern that I grew up with. But overall, I'm excited. I'm excited for the superhero movement actually getting stronger in characters, and new people being introduced to characters, and even getting new readers and people that are just overall like the characters. I think this will be as big a hit as Thor. And if it doesn't, I'm blaming you guys. The people that were bitching and moaning and whining and crying about this damn film. I will blame y'all. I'm not going to blame the filmmakers. I'm not going to blame the movie itself. I'm not going to blame Ryan Reynolds. No, I'm blaming y'all. Because, damn it, I want this movie to succeed, and it will succeed. I don't care how much ass I gotta whoop, this movie will succeed. Because I'll be damned if I'm gonna see a character that I grew up with, that I love, be dragged through the mud, all because of a couple of little trollish teenagers that get beat up and can't do anything about it, or people that just flat out their mission in life is to make other people miserable and bring them down. Don't do that. Don't bring other people down to make yourself feel better. Take it from a guy who has the experience. It's not worth it, because all you're doing in the end is hurting yourself. If you don't want to go watch the movie, you don't have to go and watch it. No one's twisting your arm. But don't sit there and whine about how the movie shouldn't have been made or that it looks shitty. It may be your opinion, but opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. But sometimes you don't need to fart out in public because it's just rude and improper, if you catch my drift. But that is all for my rant, you guys. I'm sure a lot of you are tired of hearing me swearing and getting all emotional and teary-eyed and all that junk like that, so I'm going to stop the video right here. I'm going to stop it right here, because I've said enough and I've done enough. So it is what it is. Because in fearful day and even in raging night, with your heart and mine without no fright, look up to the stars and remember that love conquers all, and that hope burns bright.